What's going on, guys? Knoxville 363. Today I'm going to be doing a video on the HTC Design 4G versus the LG Marquee, both from Boost Mobile. And the very first thing I'm going to discuss is the difference between the two when they're booting up, okay? The HTC Design has the option to fast boot and the LG Marquee does not. So I will turn both of the phones on at the same time and you guys will see the difference. Alright, so they both are turning on. And I am ready to go on the HTC, and the LG is still turning on. It's not even ready yet. So as you can see, I can already make a phone call, be on the web, send a text message, etc. And the LG is still loading. It hasn't even gotten to the home screen yet. Now the fast boot option, it does give you a warning in one of the settings when you enable fast boot, which it's already enabled on the phone when you first purchase it. You can turn it off, and it does mention something about certain applications it will not work with, meaning they will not work right away. Okay, so we are finally ready to go on the LG. And it's still loading all the times and everything. Still going. So obviously you can definitely see the advantages of having, and we are finally ready to go. There we go. Alright, so that was just a quick video or example on the difference between the fast boot and the standard. Right, first let's discuss design. Alright, I do like the design of the LG Marquee better than the HTC. The reason why I say that is because the HTC they both have 4-inch displays. However, they are shaped slightly different. As you can see, if I put them on top of one another, you will see that they are pretty much, the LG's just ever so slightly a little bit wider, and the HTC the screen is more compact as opposed to the LG. The LG is also slightly lighter than the HTC, however, you're not going to really notice that big of a difference between the two. The part that I dislike about the LG is the fact that these buttons are kind of flush with the phone and they're on the rather small side. So it's not, when I'm trying to turn the volume up, I may be hitting it down, etc. The action button is nice, however, I have noticed that when I'm trying to take a picture, if I want to take a picture of something really quickly, that there is a delay in reference to that button. Now, if we go on the top of the phone, you're going to have your power sleep button. And the feature that I discussed in my initial review on the Marquee was how I really like this trap door that hides the USB port to charge your phone. Okay, now here's the bad side of it. I barely got to use this feature considering the battery life on this phone is terrible, so I always had to leave it open because it was constantly on the charger. Something else I liked about the LG was the fact that the camera, as you can see, it does not stick out at all. It is completely flush with the phone as opposed to the HTC, which protrudes out of it, meaning that when you place the phone down on a surface, if you grab it really quick or you have it on an abrasive surface, I don't know what you may put it on, however, you may scratch that, and obviously there is no repair for that besides simply replacing it. Now, what are the odds of that happening? I don't know. I just thought I'd point that out. Now, the same thing as I always state, once you put a case on this phone, the way cases generally work is it'll make it so it's completely even. So therefore, when you place this phone on a surface, it will no longer be sticking out like that. Now, back to the LG. If we look at the display, right now I have it currently on the brightest setting. Oops. Okay, now I also have the HTC on the brightest setting. Now as you can see, from the camera point of view, they may look like they are the same bright, that they're about as bright as one another. However, the LG definitely stands out a lot more than the HTC if you look at both of them in person. Now, the downside of this is who really walks around with their phone on the highest setting, okay? I always walked around with my phone with the lowest setting to save battery. You will kill your battery if you have it on the highest setting, so I thought I'd point that out, that yes, it is an option. However, at the same time, who really has their phone on the brightest setting, unless you're out in the daylight, and then it's kind of necessary, because you cannot, I was not able to see my phone display when the sun was out and I had it on the lowest setting. Now, if we move over to the HTC really quick, I thought I'd point out that at first I thought the LG had a better display. However, even though the icons and everything are more compact, if you look at both of them, you will notice that both displays are really crisp and display great colors, and they're not distorted at all. Now, when we go back to, in reference to the design factor, you will see the volume rocker on the HTC is larger, and you can't really mess up hitting plus or minus on the HTC. There is no trap door to cover the USB. That was a fail really quick. I thought it was on the top. You will notice there is no trap door, so it is open, so it does leave this open for dirt, grime, dust, etc. to get inside of your phone, which is not a good thing. Both phones do have nothing, they both do not have any buttons or settings or anything on the right side of the device. Now, while I have both of these phones set up just like this, you can notice that the HTC is just a tad thicker than the Marquee. Nothing spectacular. It's not like you're talking 2 times the thickness or anything like that. That's why I was really expecting the HTC to be a lot heavier than it actually was. However, it's not. Okay, now if we go back, whoa, look at that. Brand new phone, now there's a ghost effect. That's kind of scary. There we go. I don't know how that happened. Look at that, that's a first, and I got it on tape. Sweet. All right, so now if we go back to the Marquee, sorry, that was a little off topic. Now, if we discuss about the, people are always concentrating on notification lights, if these bottom buttons light up, etc. As you can see, they actually are lit, however, it's hard to tell. Now, the one thing I did like about the Marquee was when you pressed on them, they turned blue, okay? That is not the same on the HTC. Now, if we look at the HTC, when you turn on the screen, you can easily see them lit up. There's no need to cover that up. Every time the phone is on, or the screen is on rather, these buttons will stay lit. Now, there's one thing that I also wanted to bring up, was the fact that I don't know if it's an HTC thing or if it's the ice cream sandwich, okay? Now, say for example, there's an application that I want to get to, and I'm scrolling really quick, okay? If I want to get to the bottom of the list, all I have to simply do is do that on the LG. On the HTC, you have to go page by page, all right? Now, this can be a good thing or a bad thing, all right? If I want to say, for example, I want to get the Play Store, okay? So the Play Store is right there. Now, without knowing where it's at, I would have to scroll down and see I would constantly be going like this, I found, when I was trying to get an application, if it's not already on one of your home screens. As opposed to the HTC, now this is not a big thing, it's just something I found. They're all on pages, so it doesn't make a difference how fast you run your finger up and down the screen, it only just does it by pages, which I found a lot more useful. So I thought I'd point that out. Now, in reference to the cameras on the top, let me get back to the home screen on both of these. You will notice that they both have front-facing cameras, all right? The LG has a 2 megapixel, while the HTC only has a 1.3. I believe it's 1.3 or 1.2 megapixel camera on the front. They both have 5 megapixel cameras on the back with flash. Now, I'm not going to lie, both cameras are not the greatest for the front-facing ones. I did not notice any difference between the 2 megapixel and the 1.3 megapixel. However, they both have beautiful cameras on the back. They're both 5 megapixel with the flash, and you can record video with flash on both of them. And just to run through that really quick, let me just go to video on both of these so you guys can see the display. I'll switch it over to camcorder. So as you can see, in my own personal opinion, I think that the HTC picture is just a tad bit better. However, they're both really, really nice. And if you want, you could turn on the flash. And now, so both cameras you can record with the flash on for video. And just to prove that you can, now I'm recording and the light's on. Now I'm recording and the light's on. That was something that people really wanted to know about, so I figured I would definitely point that out because that was one of the more popular questions. Now, there is something that the LG was missing that I really liked on the HTC, and that is the notification light. Okay, well, let me go grab my USB really quick and I will be right back. So now I have my USB connected to my PC, and you can see that the notification light is hidden within this top speaker right here. Okay, so it only goes from orange while it's charging or it's low battery to green when you have a notification or it's fully charged. So I'm so happy they brought that back because it was rather annoying constantly having to check your phone to see if you had a text message or a voicemail, etc. on the LG Marquee. Now, I have only had my HTC now for a day and a half, and if I had to rate the batteries, I would definitely say maybe 4 or 5 hours on the LG Marquee tops. And for the HTC, I had it running from 7 o'clock at night to probably around 3, 4 o'clock, something around those lines. So your battery life on the HTC is a lot better than you will find on your LG Marquee. Now, as you can see, I don't know if anyone was paying attention. I believe I took it off the charger because it was practically dead, and I had about 32%. Just in the short amount of time I have been recording, I already have it down to 27%, and I have my 3G and my Wi-Fi both turned off. So just from having the display on that bright, it took away that much of the battery. Another thing I wanted to point out is, now that I have both phones, you will see I put an indicator up here, and it is 99 degrees, and the LG is 91.9 degrees. All right. Now, granted, this is on the charger. Let me take it off. One thing I wanted to point out which that was another complete fail, was how hot the LG really got. The LG, I had this one time I was using the phone, it got up to almost, I think it was like 118 degrees. I literally had to hold the phone out the window to cool it down. And last night it was, I would say I used the phone from heavy or moderate to heavy use last night, between going online and just overall playing with the phone, and a little bit of 4G, and it was maintaining around high 80s, which is a lot better. You don't want your phone to overheat because that can damage your phone. So I thought I'd point that out in reference to the battery, because I really thought that they were going to be close together in reference to battery, because this is only 1520 and this is 1500 in reference to milliamps on the batteries. Now, another thing I thought I'd point out is, if I scroll through the menus, you really can't notice it a lot, but let's just say, for example, when I click, and of course it does it, when you're scrolling through the menus, you will notice that if anybody owns the LG right now, you'll know what I'm talking about. It lags so much, and those are the biggest downfalls of the LG Marquee, is the fact that it lags a lot, and the battery life is completely terrible. I absolutely hated the battery. And if you do own this phone and you really like it, I would highly recommend you get an extended battery for this phone, because it does have potential. I'm not going to say that this phone is terrible, because it's really not. And I've owned every single Android phone that Boost Mobile has offered, and I would definitely say it's highly up there in reference to, because there's so many great features about it. However, the lagging issue is can get very frustrating and annoying, and the battery life by far the worst I've had on any cell phone I've ever owned. Now, in reference to the battery on the HTC, like I said, I was running it on 4G just a little bit, just to make a couple test runs on it, mainly just on 3G, a little bit of internet browsing, listening to some music, etc. And it lasted me pretty much a full night of work. And so for me, that's really good, because with the LG, I had to charge it pretty much halfway through work. Now, another thing I disliked about the LG was, say for example, you're on like we'll just say 10% battery life. If you plug it into the charger and you're going online still, it drains so much of the power from the cell phone that even though it's plugged in and charging, it still will shut off, and you have to let it charge all by itself, which I thought was quite annoying. Now, I let my HTC drain down to 2%, and I plugged it in, and I continued web browsing, etc., and I had no problems. It didn't give me any warning signs like your phone's about to turn off, etc. Now, here's where I think Boost Mobile is going to run into problems, okay? If these phones are so similar that the price tag is $299 on the HTC, and I believe it's between $250 and $275. I don't remember how much the LG was. These are running way too close together in price range. So Boost, if you want to sell more LG Marquees, you're definitely I would say that this phone is definitely $200. I would not spend any more than $200 on this phone. The HTC, it's very good. I'm very satisfied with it. However, Boost, I think you'd be better off dropping this one down to $250, and I think that you will see an increase in sales. Once this phone outruns, it's because it's initial, it is new, a lot of people are going to want it. And then the biggest thing right here, you guys are looking at it, HTC. Okay, HTC is probably one of the most famous phone companies at this particular moment in time, and I think that Boost should take advantage of that and bring the price down. You guys know you're going to be making a lot of profit off this cell phone. So overall, I definitely would recommend the HTC over the LG Marquee. I pretty much covered all the things that I wanted to cover between the actual design and everything that I thought was crucial that made me choose the HTC over my LG Marquee. So I want to thank you guys for subscribing. Thanks for checking out this video. If this was helpful for you, that's great. That's why I do my videos, so that I can help those who are lost and need help with choosing a cell phone. Like I said, the LG is not bad, but definitely wait. I would wait until both of these phones drop. If you have like something like the Prevail or ZTE Warp, wait, because Boost has been doing a really good job at dropping prices. If you guys check out their website, boostmobile.com, you will see they do a lot of promos where they drop prices like for the week, for holidays or something like that. You save an extra $20. But anyways, I've been rambling on long enough. Thanks for checking out my videos. If you guys want anything else in reference to the HTC Design 4G, let me know in a private message or a comment below. Thank you.